I spent years chasing a bigger salary because I thought it would make me safe. It didn't. One day I realized something uncomfortable. If your life depends on one paycheck, you are not free. You are just better paid. I learned that lesson the hard way. I came to the UK at 19 with no family nearby, no safety net, and nobody who could rescue me if things went wrong. I worked nights. I studied during the day. I built a career in finance, and along the way, I learned some painful lessons about money, work, health, mortgages, status, and what real security actually looks like. So stay with me, because if my story helps you see the trap earlier than I did, your journey may become a little easier. When I first came to the UK, I was still almost a child, at 19 years old. At 19, you think you are grown up, but looking back, I can see how young I really was. I did not have parents nearby. I did not have someone who could quietly pay my rent if I failed. So I had to build everything from the beginning, studying during the day, working at night, trying to understand a new country, trying to survive financially, trying not to fall apart emotionally. And when you live like that, even a small amount of money feels important. A shift at McDonald's is not just a shift, it is rent, it is food, it is another week where you do not collapse. At that stage, money was not about luxury, money was oxygen. But the strange thing is, that was not the part that trapped me. The real trap came later, when life started looking more successful from the outside. And because I knew what it felt like to have no safety net, I became very focused on progressing. I believed education would save me. So I studied hard, I got my degree, then I continued. I wanted to build a proper career. And then I graduated at one of the worst possible times, right in the middle of the financial crisis. The timing was brutal. You do what society tells you to do. You study, you get your degree, you prepare yourself for a professional life. And then the economy says, not now. For around 2 years, I could not find the kind of job I had worked so hard for. I was still working part time, still trying, still hoping something would open. And this is one of the first lessons I learned. Hard work matters, education matters, discipline matters. But they do not protect you from everything. They do not protect you from bad timing. They do not protect you from a recession. They do not protect you from a job market that suddenly closes the door. That was the first time I started to understand that life is not as simple as work hard and everything will be fine. But I still believed in the main dream: earn more, progress, become stable. I thought stability was waiting for me at the next salary level. And that belief is exactly what pulled me into the next stage of the trap. Eventually, I got my first graduate job, an entry level finance position. My salary was around £18,000, and honestly, at the time, it felt like progress. Not wealth, but progress. I was finally in an office, finally in finance, finally on the path I had been trying to reach. I started renting a flat with my boyfriend, and even though it was not perfect, it felt different. At least it was our space, not just a room in someone else's house, not just survival mode in the same way. And I thought, this is the beginning. Now I just need to keep going. If I can go from £18,000 to £25,000, life will be better. If I can go from £25,000 to £35,000, I will breathe more. If I can reach £50,000 or £60,000, surely then I will feel financially safe. This is the belief that traps so many people. We think freedom is waiting at the next salary level, but very often the next salary level comes with the next level of bills: a mortgage, a nicer car, more convenient spending, more pressure to look like you are doing well. And slowly, without noticing, your life expands to consume the salary. You earn more, but your dependency also becomes bigger. And that is when salary stops being a tool. It becomes a leash. This is where the story becomes uncomfortable, because on paper I was doing better. But inside, the fear had not disappeared. Over the years, my salary slowly grew. On paper, that looked like progress, especially when you remember where I started. A young woman, alone in a rented room, working nights, studying days, trying to survive. So, yes, in many ways I had progressed. I do not want to pretend that money makes no difference. Of course it does. A higher salary can make life easier. It can give you better choices. It can reduce certain types of stress. It can help you live in a better area, pay bills more easily, support your family, and stop counting every pound in the supermarket. But here is the uncomfortable truth. A higher salary is not the same as security, because if your whole life depends on that salary arriving every month, you are still fragile. Maybe more comfortable, maybe more respected, maybe better dressed, but still fragile. And this is the part people do not like to talk about. You can earn well and still be one missed paycheck away from serious trouble, because your mortgage does not care about your job title. Your bills do not care about your qualifications. Your bank does not care how hard you worked. And your employer does not become your family just because you gave them your best years. This is where my understanding of money changed. I realized that the real question is not how much do I earn. The real question is how long can my life stand if that income stops? 1 month, 1 week, a year? That answer tells you more about your freedom than your salary does. And there is one thing most of us do not include in our financial plans. What happens if our body can no longer keep up with the life our salary is paying for? When you are young and healthy, it is easy to believe you can keep pushing forever. You can work harder, handle pressure, sleep less, recover quickly, keep performing. And when you are ambitious, you almost feel proud of that. You think, I can handle it, I am strong, I have been through worse. But life can change, your health can change, your energy can change. Your body can start saying no before your mind is ready to accept it. And when that happens, your relationship with work changes completely. Because suddenly, the high pressure job that once looked like opportunity starts to look dangerous. The salary that once looked like freedom starts to look like dependency. And the employer that once valued your performance may start seeing your limitations before they see your humanity. This is one of the hardest lessons I have learned. When you are useful, productive, flexible, available, and strong, the system rewards you. But when you become ill, restricted, exhausted, slower, or unable to perform in exactly the same way, you can become disposable very quickly. That does not mean every manager is cruel. It does not mean every company is evil. But it does mean this: your employer is not your safety net. Your salary is not your safety net. Your job title is not your safety net. And if you build your entire life around the assumption that you will always be able to perform, you may be building your life on something much weaker than it looks. This is why I now think differently. I no longer see money only as something to spend. I see money as protection. Protection from panic. Protection from being forced to say yes when your body is begging you to stop. That is what quiet wealth means to me, not looking rich. Having enough protection that your whole life does not collapse the moment you cannot perform. And this is why the biggest financial danger is not always low income. Sometimes it is a life with high fixed costs and no room to breathe. Another big trap I see now is the way we buy homes. And I want to be very clear. I am not against buying a home. Actually, I believe having a safe roof over your head is one of the most important forms of security. But there is a difference between buying a home that protects you and buying a home that owns you. Many people do the second one. They stretch themselves to buy the nicest house they can possibly afford. The bigger house. The lifestyle that tells the world, I made it. But when the house becomes the master, every month the mortgage comes, the maintenance comes, the council tax comes, and suddenly you are not living in the house, you are serving it. You cannot take a break, you cannot leave a toxic job, you cannot take a risk, you cannot breathe, because the house needs feeding every month. And this is another lesson I wish I understood earlier. A home should make you safer. It should not turn you into a prisoner. If you buy a property that consumes all your disposable income, you may look successful from the outside, but inside you may have less freedom than before. Sometimes the quieter, smaller, more affordable choice is not a failure. Sometimes it is wisdom. Buy the home that protects you, not the home that forces you to sacrifice your health just to keep it. And if you have spare money, overpay the mortgage when you can. Not because it looks exciting, not because anyone will clap for you, but because one day having a roof over your head that nobody can easily take away may matter more than the car, the handbag, the holidays, or the image. And that brings me to another trap, the quieter, more embarrassing one. The things we buy not because we need them, but because we want to feel like we finally made it. I also learned something about status, and I learned it through my own mistakes. There was a time when I bought myself a 500 pounds bag while my monthly salary was around 1,500 pounds. At the time, I probably thought it meant something. Maybe it made me feel more successful, more like I belonged. More like I had moved away from the girl who worked nights and counted basic groceries. But looking back, I almost want to ask myself, who was I trying to impress? Because the truth is, most people do not care. They may notice something for 5 seconds. Then they go back to their own problems, their own bills, their own insecurities, their own lives. And you are left with the payment. This is such a painful but freeing realization. Most status spending is a performance for an audience that is not even watching. The bag, the car, the brands, sometimes we call it success. But often it is just proof we are trying to buy from other people. Proof that we are not behind. Proof that we made it. But if you need to damage your financial safety to prove you are successful, then maybe it is not success. Maybe it is fear wearing nice clothes. And I say this with compassion, because I have done it too. I understand the desire to finally feel like you are not struggling anymore. But now I believe this: the money you save quietly can protect you. The money you spend to impress people usually disappears. And most of those people were never really paying attention anyway. So if I could go back and speak to my younger self, I would not tell her to stop wanting a better life. I would tell her to build safety before she builds the image of success. So what would I tell my younger self? The girl who believed the next qualification, the next job, the next salary level would finally make her safe. I would tell her this. First, a salary is important, but it is not security. Do not confuse income with freedom. Income is what comes in every month. Freedom is what remains if that income stops. Second, hard work matters. Discipline matters. But they do not protect you from everything. They do not protect you from bad timing. They do not protect you from a recession. They do not protect you from a job market that suddenly closes the door. So work hard, progress, but do not believe that effort alone will always make you safe. Third, do not let your lifestyle rise as fast as your salary. When your income increases, do not immediately upgrade everything. Do not automatically move to the most expensive house you can get. Do not buy the car just because the bank says yes. Do not use every pay rise to make your life more expensive. Because if every raise becomes a new bill, you are not becoming freer. You are just building a more expensive prison. Fourth, do not buy things to prove something to people. They are not watching as much as you think. And even if they are, their opinion will not pay your mortgage, protect your health, or rescue you when life goes wrong. Fifth, protect your health. This one matters more than I understood when I was younger. Do not build a life that only works if you are always strong, always available, always productive, always able to cope with pressure. Because one day your body may ask for a slower life. And if you have built a life that cannot afford rest, you will feel trapped. Sixth, build protection before you build the image. Lower fixed costs, affordable home, mortgage overpayments if possible, skills you can use in different ways, income that does not destroy you, a lifestyle that gives you breathing space. This is not glamorous. Nobody will admire your lower bills on Instagram. Nobody will clap because you did not buy the most expensive house you could technically afford. But the day something goes wrong, that breathing space may become the most beautiful thing you own. And when I put all of those lessons together, this is what Quietwealth started to mean to me. I don't have all the answers. I'm not selling you a fantasy. I am speaking from experience. From graduating into a crisis. From chasing career progression. From earning more and still realizing how fragile life can feel. From understanding that health, time, and peace matter more when looking successful. Quiet wealth for me is not about luxury. It is not about people envying your life. It is not about pretending everything is perfect. Quiet wealth is having a life that does not collapse easily, a home that protects you, bills you can manage, savings that give you time, work that does not destroy your body, choices that are not made from panic, the ability to say no, the ability to rest, the ability to survive a difficult season without losing everything. That is real wealth to me now. And if any part of this made you uncomfortable, maybe it is because deep down you already know that earning more is not the same as being free. So if you are watching this and you are chasing the next salary level, I understand you. I really do. I understand what it means to believe that more money will finally make you safe. But please do not make the mistake I made. Do not rely on salary alone. Do not build a life that only works when everything goes perfectly. Do not spend years proving success to people who are too busy with their own lives to notice. Do not sacrifice your health to maintain an image. And do not wait until life forces you to understand what safety really means. This video is the first part of a more personal series I want to share on this channel. In the next video, I want to go back to the beginning, to the rented room, the night shifts, the frozen chicken, the degrees, the financial crisis, and the years when I truly believed that if I just worked hard enough, life would finally feel safe. So if this story speaks to you, subscribe to Quietwealth. This is where we talk about money, work, freedom, and the quiet traps that keep people looking successful but feeling trapped. Not from a perfect place, from real life.